It's Friday, October 31st, Halloween 2008. I'm Marcel Gagné, and this is WFTL Bytes, your occasiodaily FOSS and Linux news show. Before I get into today's stories, I should wear my press hat. I'm going to put on my press hat. There we go, my press hat. Before I get into today's news stories, I want to point out that WFTL Bytes is now on the Miro channel guide. As with most of these things, or all of these things actually, you can check out the links to the various stories that I mentioned down at the bottom below the video here. But it's great. It's great to be on Miro, and if you are using Miro to view and download video podcasts and so forth, you can now download WFTL Bytes directly. Cool! Or visit us at WFTLBytes.com, of course. I will lead off today with the great news from yesterday, which is that Ubuntu 8.10, the Intrepid IBEX, was released to a waiting world. And there was much rejoicing. But there are some interesting things about 8.10. All right, there were going to be interesting things anyway, but it's actually got a newish look, because they always update the look a little bit here and there, although it's always, based on that humanish sort of theme thing happening. But it's also got an updated installer, which is quite nice. In particular, the partitioning tool is very nice for the people who actually want to install this thing directly. And all in all, it's a pretty cool little release. However, sadly, there is no empathy in Ubuntu 8.10, and that's because they're holding off. Empathy, by the way, is an instant messaging tool, which we talked about on this very channel a little while ago there. But that will have to wait until the next release, which I forget is Jaunty Jackalope or something like that, whereas this is Intrepid IBEX. There's also, and this is really, really sad, no OpenOffice 3.0. Apparently we'll have to wait till the next release for that one as well, although you could always go to openoffice.org and download your own copy. By the way, if you don't want to go and download a live CD directly from Ubuntu and try it out, there are a whole pile of people that have already written up various reviews of the new Intrepid IBEX, including Linux format. Again, links are at the bottom. You can check out the Linux format review of the new Intrepid IBEX and decide for yourself if it is indeed for you. Speaking of Ubuntu and Canonical, the company behind Ubuntu, headed up by Mark Shuttleworth. Mark himself just recently revealed in a CNET article that Canonical is not, quote, cash flow positive. What that means is they're not really making money. Although he says that he's quite willing to continue funding Canonical for the next 2 to 3 years. Now, there's a man who believes in what he's doing. Yay, Mark! He's not entirely sure whether the desktop is where the money is going to be made, but we do know that Ubuntu is striking partnerships with a lot of companies like HPs, the IBMs of the world, whatever, the big guns. And they're also starting to distribute other third-party software applications on the Canonical store. So stay tuned, and we'll see what happens there. Speaking of making money in Linux and so forth, we've been talking netbooks. Remember, we've been talking netbooks a lot. Everybody is talking netbooks and Linux and so forth. Well, apparently HP, not to be outdone, is producing their own netbook series called the HP 1000 series. And although it's not immediately available with Linux, there will be an HP 1000 available in the first quarter, in fact, January 2009. And yes, it will be running Linux for only $379, so stay tuned from HP. Over at the Linux Foundation, Jim Zenlin, who, by the way, is the executive director of the foundation, remember, Linux Foundation pays Linus Torvalds' salary, sees a world at the end of next year, are you ready for this, where there is more Linux installed on desktops than Windows, even if Windows is actually installed on the desktop. And you ask yourself, what kind of madness is this? What are you talking about? Well, here's the thing. Everybody demands fast boot. And in fact, all those little netbooks out there that are becoming so popular, that are re-energizing the laptop market and so forth, well, a heck of a lot of them have to be running Linux, and people want to be able to access some of those applications. Like, they want to be able to access their email within 30 seconds. They want to be able to surf the web within 30 seconds, and we all know that PCs take a lot longer to boot than that. Well, guess what? Fast boot technology is largely available through Linux. So a lot of notebooks, a lot of desktops that will be available, according to Jim, will have fast boot technology, courtesy of Linux, loaded on all these systems so that people can access these applications. So even if eventually it boots into Windows, for the people that want to be able to access those important core applications right off the bat, guess what? They're going to be running Linux, whether they know it or not. Cool! Very, very cool. Anyway, another interesting story. If you thought that we'd completely forgotten about Canonical and Ubuntu, Just kidding. BBC News. Are you ready for this? BBC is experimenting with DRM-free content about flippin' time. The BBC has been working with Canonical and a company called Collabra Multimedia to develop a plugin for the Totem movie player. Those of you who are running something like Ubuntu or the GNOME desktop know all about Totem. Anyway, there's a plugin that allows you to use or to view DRM-free content from the BBC. Sadly, you're not going to be able to watch Doctor Who, at least not right away. But there is a lot of their the radio programs and some research shows and, you know, the more, if you'll pardon the expression, cerebral kind of stuff from the BBC. Very, very good. Anyway, good job, BBC, and good job, Canonical, and bravo to the people over at Collabra Multimedia. Anyway, it's trick-or-treat night, so boo! And thanks for joining me on WFTL Bytes, and we'll see you after the weekend. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Do I look silly with this hat? It's actually a bucket, you know. We're going trick-or-treating tonight. That's it. It's over. Show's done. Later.